Hey everybody, it's Shannon Graham Cornell from Better Home Organizing at betterhomeorganizing.com. And today I am coming to you from my living room floor in front of my fireplace because frankly, I'm cold. It's supposed to be coming into spring. We don't seem to be getting any closer to that. And I'm just sick of being cold. So here I am deciding to do this in a different spot in my home. So see, there's the fireplace. I'm all cozy here. Thanks so much for joining. And we're going to be talking today about the last of the 4 tendencies from Gretchen Rubin's 4 tendencies framework and how we can use some of the learnings about that tendency to inspire us to get organized. So we've been talking about, for the last several days, talking about the other tendencies in this framework. So we first started by talking about the upholder, who responds to both internal and external expectations with no problem. We then talked about the questioners, who run all expectations through their own personal filter to figure out if it makes sense. And if it does, then they make it into an internal expectation and they roll with it. Then we talked about the obliger. And the obliger tendency is one that has no problem at all. In fact, they're masters at external expectations, but they really struggle with the internal expectations. And today we're going to finish up by talking about the 4th tendency, which is the rebel. And the rebel is the tendency that has issues with both internal and external expectations alike. I am a rebel, so this is my tendency. So I'm kind of excited to talk about this one. And I'll probably share more with you about how my brain works than I have with the other tendencies, just because this is the one that's near and dear to my heart, just because I'm living it. So I want to start by just doing a little bit of a description of the rebel. So I had said before that they have a difficult time with both internal and external expectations. Rebels don't like to be told what to do by other people, and they also don't like to be told what to do by themselves. So it can be difficult for rebels to move forward toward a goal that either someone else has set for them or one they have set for themselves. When we're talking about organizing, we're usually talking about a goal that someone has set for themselves, although we will talk about how to try to get a rebel to help you with organizing. But really, the trick with rebels is to try to figure out how to get them to want to do something. And because that's the key. I forget what day it was when I talked about, with upholders, it's what should I do? What should I do? With questioners, it's does this make sense for me to do? With obligers, the question is, does it matter to anyone else? And with the rebel, it's, is this something I want to do? Or is this the kind of person I want to be? That's kind of the key with rebels. So that's one of the things we need to do is figure out how do we get the rebel, either ourselves or someone else, to want to get organized. So there's a couple of strategies that I want to call out today. The one is the strategy or this concept of identity. So the rebel puts a huge amount of value and value in their identity. And so when it comes to getting organized, a really good strategy for a rebel is to couch it in terms of, this is the kind of person I want to be. I want to be an organized person. I don't want to be a messy person. I don't want to be a sloppy person. I want to be the kind of person who is organized. What are the things that I need to do in order to be organized? What are the characteristics of an organized person? What are the kinds of tasks they do? And that's a good entry point. If you couch it in terms of the kind of person I want to be, then getting yourself to do tasks that are related to that becomes easier. Because, an organized person does a 15-minute tidy up before they go to bed at night. I don't want to do a 15-minute tidy up I know I'm supposed to, but I don't like anybody telling me what to do, even myself. But you know what? I want to be the kind of person who's organized. And so doing a 15-minute tidy up is what an organized person does. All right, fine, I'll do it. So that's a really good strategy for is keying into that identity. Something related to that too that can work for a rebel is the idea of a challenge. Rebels like to stand out. They like to be different. They like, in some cases, they like the challenge of, do you think you can do this? I'll bet you can't do this. Oh, wait, I'll show you I can do this. So the idea of a challenge. So if you participate in a decluttering challenge, for example, for an obliger, a decluttering challenge could work because there are other people who are doing the challenge with you and can help hold you accountable. For a rebel, if they participate in that challenge, it's because they are challenging themselves. It doesn't matter if there's other people involved or not. You can be in a challenge all by yourself. In fact, this daily Facebook Live that I'm doing is a challenge I have set for myself. So nobody else is doing this along with me. So, but if you set that challenge for a rebel, then they're doing it because it ties into their identity, a person they want to be. I want to be the kind of person who has a decluttered home. So I'm going to participate in a, month-long decluttering challenge. So challenges can be a good way of inspiring that rebellious streak in the rebel. Well, I'll show you, I'll go ahead and get this house decluttered, like you've never seen it before. Also, another thing that can be fun for a rebel, I already mentioned, they like to be different from other people. If you've got a rebel who decides they're going to follow a particular diet, they're going to pick a diet that is really unusual. And they're going to kind of like the fact that they're doing something no one else is doing. So the same can be true with organizing. They might be inspired by a really extreme method, like the Marie Kondo method, where you pull in your closet, you pull everything, every piece of clothing that you have in your whole house, your closet, your dresser drawers, your closets you have in the basement, whatever, your hall closet, pull it all out and throw it all on your bed and figure out what things do you love, what things bring you joy. That's a pretty extreme method of getting organized, but that might be something that appeals to a rebel. Now, Marie Kondo is actually a really hot topic right now. And so because of that, it may no longer be as appealing to rebels. I don't know. It depends on the rebel. But doing something different from other people, or using organizing products differently. So this organizing product is designed to do X. I'm going to use it for Y and see if I can figure out, some strange way to use this product that nobody else may have thought of. Like, I'm going to use a plastic magazine file folder, those boxes that are a little skinny and you're designed to put magazines in. Turn them sideways, stick them in the freezer, and use that to store your frozen food in. That's cool. It's not supposed to be used like that, but look at me. Look how creative I am. So, that's a good, potentially a good technique. Here's another technique, and Gretchen Rubin came up with this, and I think she talks about it mostly when it comes to kids, but I love it. It works for adults too. My husband, Michael, uses it on me all the time, and even though I know where he learned it, I see it coming from a mile away, it still works on me every time. And that is this idea of information, consequences, choice. So the example that Gretchen originally used was, again, talking to a kid, you want the kid to put on sunscreen. So you tell the child, well, if you go outside, if you're out in the sun unprotected, you'll get a sunburn. A sunburn really hurts, and you may not be able to go outside and play with your friends, and it'll be really painful, and you'll just be miserable. So do you want to wear sunscreen, or would you like to wear a long sleeve shirt and a baseball cap? Information, consequences, choice, and let the rebel decide. In that case, then they're making the choice, and you can do the same thing with organizing. And this also works for adults. You may need to be a little more subtle with adults, but it works for adults too. So Our guest room is a disaster. It's really disorganized. My mother is coming, your mother is coming, whoever's mother is coming to stay in a month. And if we don't have a place for her to sleep, it's going to be really awkward and really uncomfortable and really embarrassing that we can't put our mothers up in our home. So do we want to clear out the bedroom this weekend or next weekend? So anyway, information consequences choice can be a really good strategy because you're not telling the rebel what to do. You're presenting an issue and giving choices and sharing the consequences if the choice, if a choice isn't made. The danger with that, or not the danger, but one thing that you need to be aware of in that case is with a rebel, you need to be prepared to let the consequences that you've outlined happen if the choice doesn't get made. So anyway, information consequences choice can work really well. Another one, and this is a big one for me, is make it as easy as possible to seize the moment. Rebels do what they want to do when they want to do it. And if they're inspired to go running in the middle of the night, then that's when they're going to go run. If they get inspired to clear out the garage at 4 a.m, let them do it. That's when they're going to do it. But make it as easy as possible. When that moment of desire strikes, make it as easy as possible to seize the moment. This is what I do for myself. I very often, there's a task I know that I really need to get done and I really don't want to do it, and I am really, really likely to procrastinate on it. I will actually set up like my work environment so that it is ready to go. So I can walk into the room and it's ready to go. Or I know that I need to complete an organizing project. I make sure all of my supplies are out, any tools I need. And so that way, if I get inspired, I can just pick it up and run with it. And I don't have to do any prep work. I can just go. So make it as easy as possible in the moment to get the project done. And you can do that when you're trying to inspire another rebel as well. So get everything set up so that when they say, I think now's a good time, you're ready. There's no barrier to entry to getting that done. And then the last one I want to share with you is actually a twist on something that works for upholders really well. And that is the to-do list. Although for a rebel, you don't want to call it a to-do list because to-do list makes it sound like something you have to do. What you could do instead is call it a could-do list, a might-do list. I think Gretchen has talked about might-do lists. And I actually use this strategy myself. So I'm going to share with you, this journal is my brain. I love it. First of all, it's purple, which is my favorite color. And it has a dragon on it because, yes, please, dragons. But inside is a list. And I know the text is backwards, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's written in here. But hold on. There we go. So I write down if something comes into my brain that I want to do. Or somebody says, oh, you should listen to this thing, or you should read this book, or whatever. It goes in the book. First of all, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to try to remember what it was somebody told me. I write it down, and then I don't have to spend brain cycles processing these things that I have to do, or these things that have been recommended to me. But I treat this as my stuff that at one point I thought would be cool to do, and I can do it, or I don't have to do it. There are some things in here, by the way, that I've gone and crossed off because I've decided, I don't really ever want to do those. And so why have it on the list? So I cross them off. But obviously this is like pages, right? So it's like, there we go. It's like pages of things that I have written down for myself. Ooh, look, that page, I got everything done. That I've written down, right? That's too much to look at in one day. So what I do is I add this little piece of front matter, which is things for today. And I write down for the day, what are the things out of this list that I want to get done? But you know what? I don't have to get them done. If I decide, I don't really feel like prepping that document today. Is it super urgent? Nah, I'm not going to do it. So this is just, it functions to remind me of things that I could do, options I could pick from, but I don't treat it as a to-do list. And it works really well for my rebel brain, which if I have a to-do list, then I get really resistant and I get just really, really uninterested in getting it completed. So I just wanted to share that little tip with you. I love my journal. It keeps me sane. So those are my tips for dealing with rebels and trying to get rebels to be either helping you or getting yourself inspired. So again, focus in on that question of identity. Either your identity is a rebel or the person who's helping you, their identity is a rebel. Remember, information, consequences, choice. Make it as easy as possible to get moving when that moment of inspiration strikes, and think about using a could-do list, a things at one point I thought I might be interested in doing list, and leverage that. So with that, that is the end of the series on the 4 tendencies that we've been doing as part of the Facebook Live event. So thanks for coming along on that ride with me. I love talking about the 4 tendencies. So it's been a lot of fun. So tomorrow is Friday, and I'm going to be doing I think for the Fridays in the rest of this challenge, I'm going to be doing, actually somebody shared an idea with me that I love, Favorite Things Friday. So what I'm going to do every Friday is do something on an organizing gadget product that I really like and can recommend and can talk to you about how I used it. Or what I've seen, how I've seen it be used in a client's home, for example. So join me tomorrow to see what object I picked. I will tell you, I am planning on not this Friday, but next Friday's Favorite Things Friday. I'm planning a trip to the Container Store because I think that'll be fun. So I'm going to see if I can get away with doing a Facebook Live from inside the Container Store. See if I can do that before they throw me out. Because who is this weird person standing in the aisle doing a Facebook Live? But anyway, that's my plan for March 15th. But for tomorrow, we'll be doing something in my own home. So join me tomorrow to see what I picked out. Also, please share in the comments if you are a rebel or if you worked with rebels or have a rebel in your house and you've tried strategies to help get them motivated to either get organized or to complete some other project. Please share what strategies worked. If you've tried any of the strategies that I've mentioned today, then let me know how those go as well. I also just want to share with you one more piece of information. I have my first podcast interview that I've done, and that is dropping today at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on March 7th. And I'd love it if you could take a listen to it. I will be posting after this video posts. I'll put the listening information or the information for the podcast in the comments so you can find it. But the podcast is called Just Minding My Business. And it's a podcast that focuses on different small business owners. They've got a wide variety of topics that they've covered and business owners that they've interviewed. And they interviewed me a few weeks ago, and the podcast is going live at 6 p.m. today. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you tomorrow when we get to look at a favorite thing. So thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your Thursday, and happy organizing. Bye.